This is Matthew Craddock from Trader University, and today I want to talk about how Bitcoin is setting up for a very big price breakout here. If you're interested in learning how to make money in both bull and bear markets, or you just want to see what I'm trading or investing in, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So in this video, we're going to do a brief review of what the monthly and daily chart is looking like for Bitcoin. A lot of people have asked for this. We're also going to talk about Bitcoin's relative strength versus some of the other cryptocurrencies. And then very exciting news as well about how the Bitcoin stock market correlation seems to be breaking down and in a positive way for Bitcoin. And also make sure that you stay until the end of this video because there's some amazing news that suggests we're about to see even larger flows into Bitcoin. So equities and risk assets in general seem to be waiting for the stimulus deadline that Pelosi has put up to see whether there is going to be a stimulus bill passed by Congress before the election. As I'm recording this right now, it's a little ambiguous whether this is going to happen or not. But in the meantime, we are seeing Bitcoin showing really good relative strength versus everything else. So in the last 24 hours, Bitcoin is up over 3%, while things like Ethereum are down 1.6%, XRP down about 1.6%, Bitcoin Cash down 1.8%. So showing very good relative strength. In fact, amazing relative strength against the other cryptocurrencies over the last 24 hours. Also showing really good relative strength over the last 7 days of trading, where Bitcoin is up 2.76%, Ethereum down almost 4%, XRP down close to 6%. So Bitcoin is really showing its showing Bitcoin dominance here and outperforming everything, including equities. If we take a look at how it's been outperforming the stock market, it really has been outperforming since mid-July. So this red line is Bitcoin. The purple line is the NASDAQ 100 or the QQQs, and the light turquoise line is the S&P 500. We can see since mid-July, Bitcoin is up almost 30%, while the S&P and NASDAQ are up more, something like 9% and 6.6%. And what's especially significant, if we look at the last couple days, especially yesterday, Bitcoin was very strong even while equities were weak. We can see this divergence here where Bitcoin is turning up while equities are turning down. They've been sort of moving in lockstep for much of the year. We can especially see in this period of time when there was a lot of lockstep movement. But it's very nice to see this correlation breaking down. It's hard to know whether this is long-term breakdown in the correlation simply because equities, the stock market, and Bitcoin are both really, really driven now by central bank policy and money printing. But it remains to be seen. Either way, Bitcoin seems to be ignoring everything else and breaking out. Now, there are good reasons for this. Bitcoin right now is trading. This is a monthly chart of Bitcoin. So each of these candlesticks represents 1 month. We can see from this that Bitcoin is currently trading at its second highest monthly level, or monthly. If it were to close here, this would be the second highest monthly close in history, actually. The only time it closed higher was back in December of 2017. It closed at 11,655 in August, the August close, and we're currently above that. So a lot of people pay a lot of attention to the 20,000 level. What they don't realize is that this is a classic shape of not a bubble that broke and is never going to reinflate, or an echo bubble or something like this, but this is a chart of Bitcoin really coming back and showing incredible strength when it was written off as dead. So if we close up here, we can see we're currently trading in an area where there's been a lot of rejection at the monthly level. You can see these long candlesticks, sort of long upper wicks, which show the selling pressure that comes in at these levels. So the fact that we're trading and may even be able to close the month up here where it was unable to close last summer is extremely bullish news. If we take a look at the daily chart as well, everything's setting up the way we like to see. When we look at momentum stocks, for example, we like to see the stock price trading above the blue line, which is the 50-day moving average, and then the blue line above the red line, which is the 200-day moving average. So everything looking really nice here. If we scroll in a little bit, what we can see is that Bitcoin has almost completely recovered the sharp crash that happened at the beginning of September. September is normally a seasonally weak time for equities and for Bitcoin as well, especially when they are behaving as if they're correlated. But we've been able to grind back higher in a very constructive manner here. And we're basically trading back in this congestion zone from August. We can see there's this congestion zone. We broke down out of it. And then there was very good, we see these very long wicks at the bottom here at the beginning of September. Whenever Bitcoin dipped below 10,000, there's huge institutional buying. So it's unable to stay down here. And now we have a pattern of a low, a higher low, and then higher highs as well. If we scroll in a little bit more, we can see that we are also breaking out of this trading range, this very boring trading range that we were in for the past week or so. And I'm not going to be able to draw it exactly, but this is roughly the trading range. We got a close breakout, a breakout outside of that trading range yesterday, and now we're getting very good follow through today. So very constructive price action, both in terms of relative strength against equities as well as the monthly chart, the daily trend chart, as well as breaking out of this most recent range. I think Cuppy here in his tweet made a very good point, which I touched on briefly yesterday, that the last couple of Bitcoin bubbles were caused by retail investors, but this one is going to be caused by institutional flows. And it won't really be a bubble. Bitcoin actually has intrinsic value as a store of value. But you have big companies like Square and MicroStrategy converting a large percentage of the cash on their balance sheet into Bitcoin. And all the signs suggest that there's going to be a huge rush into Bitcoin from corporations looking to diversify the cash and bonds on their balance sheet, as well as from investment vehicles like GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. This is a very helpful page that shows the holdings of Bitcoin in publicly traded companies. And this page has really expanded even in the last few days. We can see that currently the percentage of Bitcoin, the total percentage of Bitcoin held on all these balance sheets is 3.62% of the total supply of Bitcoin. There are only going to be 21 million coins, and this is currently 760,000 roughly Bitcoin locked away on these balance sheets. Companies like MicroStrategy, Square, these are really their Bitcoin is intended as a long-term holding. And I expect to see this trend continue at some point in the next year or so. It would not surprise me at all to see Google, Facebook, Apple, Amazon begin to buy some Bitcoin for their balance sheet as well. This is how the game theory of Bitcoin works. You don't want to be too late to the game. You need to get in, and this applies to central banks and state actors as well. For example, the first nation, state, or country that buys Bitcoin and announces it to the world, all of a sudden there will be a mad rush as people play catch up. I wouldn't be surprised if countries like China and Singapore already own some Bitcoin. Finally, the thing I wanted to end on was this amazing report from Fidelity, Bitcoin investment thesis. And the conclusion, I couldn't believe my eyes when I read this, but they are recommending, obviously Fidelity is a very large respected company, very traditional company. They're recommending different levels, but the basic level is a 5% allocation to Bitcoin. So maybe you'd have a certain percentage in stocks or certain percentage in bonds, alternate assets, and as part of that, you would have an allocation to Bitcoin. All of this suggests that you have huge flows coming in from the side of corporate balance sheets, from various Wall Street investment vehicles, and now at the level of RIAs, registered investment advisors, and it really looks like there's a concerted push to get everyone into Bitcoin. And this coincides with all the money printing that the Fed's been doing, as well as the fact that we're in the most bullish 12 to 18 month period of the Bitcoin four-year cycle. We just had the halving in May of 2020. And so you have this huge demand now from institutions, from corporations, from investment vehicles, and there's less supply coming on the market simply because of the halving. The miners now only earn 6.25 Bitcoin per new block rather than 12.5. So this is classic economics 101. When you have supply shrinking and demand rapidly growing, what has to adjust is the price. And that's really what we're seeing here with the breakout in Bitcoin. I wouldn't be surprised if we're at new highs by the end of the year, especially after the election, or whenever they're able to get this fiscal stimulus bill passed. It's not a question of if, it's just a question of when. Will we be able to do it before the election, or will it happen afterwards? Whenever it happens, there's going to be a massive rally in equities and a massive rally in Bitcoin as well. And I would expect that to happen, if not before the election, shortly after the election, and certainly no later than January, when Trump either remains in office or Biden, if he wins, takes office. It would be hard to imagine the stimulus bill, though, not being passed before the holiday season and Christmas, especially if people are suffering and really need the money. It'd be pretty just hard to imagine politicians doing that. Obviously, this is 2020, anything can happen. But the good news is that the really big winner of 2020, which is Bitcoin, continues to outperform. So I will link to this Bitcoin investment thesis. It's quite long. You can flip through it. But just the fact that this is being rolled out and then will be rolled out to all the RIAs means that people are going to start to diversify their retirement portfolios and their investment portfolios into Bitcoin. And so if you've been following this channel for a while, you're already there probably, and you're ahead of this mad crowd, which is a good thing because there's only 21 million Bitcoin out there. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my channel. You can just go below the video, click this red subscribe button. And then if you want to be notified when I publish new videos, click the bell here and click the ringing bell where it says all. And that way you'll be notified through your YouTube app or through YouTube when I publish a new video. Let me know your questions and comments in the comments section below. Any interesting links you might have to Bitcoin you want me to take a look at. And appreciate you watching this video. Look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thanks.